Order. Question number 9, Dr. Kennedy Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Dr. Kennedy Graham.
What is the total number and cost of uncontested contracts given by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade to external consultants in the last 2 financial years?
The Honourable Tim Groser.
Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, in 2010 to 11, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs engaged 82 consultants or contractors through non-contested processes at a cost of $5.06 million, and in the more recent fiscal year, the numbers dropped to 49 consultants at a cost of $2.98 million.
Dr. Kennedy Graham.
Supplementary. Why did the Ministry this year give a contract worth more than $300,000 for change management with no tender process? And the only reason given as justification is that the consultant, Harrington, Allen and Associates, had previously worked for the Ministry.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister has a very strong view based on public service policy that this is an operational matter for the Chief Executive.
Dr. Kennedy Graham.
In asking the Minister to extend his ministerial writ and comment on issues that naturally fall within his purview, perhaps he could answer why was there no tender process for this particular contract, given that the consultant's original contract the previous year, also costing about $300,000, was awarded with no tender process, this time due to urgency.
The Honourable Tim Groser.
I can only repeat the underlying point. This is obviously a decision of the management, and I'm sure they had good reasons to consider the alternative and made this in the best interests of the process.
Andrew Williams.
Mr. Speaker, supplementary. Will the Minister agree to end the use of uncontested contracts given by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade to external consultants on the grounds that they are inconsistent with open, transparent and merit-based contracting in the public sector? And if not, why not?
The Honourable Tim Groser.
On behalf of the Minister, the answer to that is no, because it would be extremely inefficient to do so, and it's a long-standing matter for the public service across many agencies to have uncontested contracts, particularly for contracts of $50,000 or less, so that is not a complete bar to considering proposals above that figure.
Dr. Kennedy Graham.
Point of order,
Point of order, Dr. Kennedy Graham.
Mr. Speaker, I put it to you that the issue of the integrity of tenders being put out is not an operational matter. It is a ministerial matter. The Ministry applies the policy. The Minister is there to judge and set the policy.
The member is quite correct, as I understand the situation, and that's why the last question that asked about policy was answered quite firmly by the Minister. Previous supplementary questions that have asked about detailed particular contracts, the Minister has deferred to the Ministry because they are management matters, just as the member has described himself. Dr. Kennedy Graham.
Supplementary, sir. Asking a broader matter of policy of the Minister, what is the threshold for tenders for legal advice at the Ministry, given Bill Gully received $121,000 in 2011 for work relating to aid contracts and no other tenders were called, the price being deemed to be below the threshold?
The Honourable Tim Groser.
I do not have that information available to me as to what the policy structures are for that matter.
Dr. Kennedy Graham.
Has the Minister's recent cutback meant that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade no longer has officials able to provide advice on diplomatic matters, given it is paying external contractors hundreds of thousands of dollars for advice on diplomacy?
The Honourable Tim Groser.
Mr. Speaker, I think that's a somewhat broader question, and I think I can assure the member that the type of independent consultant that I'm aware of, most of whom I know personally over many years, are people of great international standing, of unrivalled expertise, and people of very high integrity. I do not think the member needs to be concerned.
The Honourable Phil Goff.
Why wasn't the Minister aware that deliberately leaving policy positions unfilled and then cutting foreign policy positions by more than 30 would prove to be false economy, leading, since he became minister, to a doubling of public expenditure on external consultants to $8.4 million a year.
The Honourable Tim Groser.
On behalf of the Minister, I think there are two qualifications I put to the member's question. The first is a relatively minor matter, the second is more profound. The minor matter is, of course, that he's not comparing apples with apples, because the previous government's use of consultants excluded from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs consultants used in our aid programs, which is a very considerable part of the package. The more important point, of course, is that this is like listening to one hand clapping. The basic point of this whole process, at least in part, was to get public service efficiencies, and we expect savings of $24 million, or some 3 times the amount of money we're arguing here.
Dr. Kennedy Graham. Order. Order. I must hear Dr. Kennedy Graham. Order. Dr. Kennedy
Point
Graham.
of order, sir. I seek leave to...
Point of order,
yes,
I beg your pardon.
I seek leave to table 3 documents. The first pertains to the 4 guiding principles for recruitment by the Ministry of Social Development, including selection on merit and open, honest and transparent process, so that those with unrivalled talent can compete with others.
Leave us or table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection.
And also Section 77H of the State Sector Amendment Act, which states
no order, we don't take bits of legislation.
And finally, sir,
Dr. Kennedy Graham.
The recruitment process of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, which advertises for experienced foreign policy staff wanting to return to the ministry.
Leave us or to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection. Question number 10, Mark Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.